is absolute power.
Strongman takes a lot of thought.
Strongman takes pride.
Strongman takes determination.
Strongman is the ultimate test of a human's capabilities. Strongman is the best strength sport on the planet.
Welcome to the Commerce World's Strongest Man. This year's host city is Sanya, China, on the tropical island of Hainan. And qualifying Group 2 gets things underway with a super yoke, the first of 6 unique tests of strength that they will face.
Yeah, Brent, here in the super yoke, the strongmen are going to need to move the yoke, which weighs an amazing 992 pounds. That's like running 30 meters carrying 3 NFL defensive linemen on your back. My knees and lower back are hurting just thinking about it.
Not a Heat 1, 29-year-old Scott Cummine from Saskatchewan, making his first World's Strongest Man appearance. Next to him, another rookie, 28-year-old Gerhard van Staden, who owns a wildlife sanctuary back home in his native South Africa. And Jerry Pritchett of Arizona rounds out the heat, the former powerlifting champ's second trip to the World's Strongest Man. 30 meters, time to vent as we get it on here.
Yeah, Brent, this is one of the heaviest super yokes ever. The athletes want the height of the bar low enough where they don't have to squat to be able to pick it up, but it has to also be high enough where it won't hit the ground when they walk.
Pritchett looks very strong with a 992 pounds.
Looks very smooth in his technique. Every time the athletes drop that super yoke, they have to use extra leg strength to be able to get it up. It's a huge disadvantage to drop it.
Cummine and van Staden struggling. Pritchett strong to the finish of the 30-meter course. 34.81.
Very strong finish by Pritchett. These athletes have a decision to make. Clearly it's being difficult for them. How much energy do they want to expend on this event? But points are crucial, Brent.
10 seconds.
10 seconds remaining. Van Staden looks like he's done. And Cummine barely able to move this thing off the line. Time's up in a minute. It was a real battle for Cummine as well as van Staden, but Pritchett, 34.81 to set the early pace.
Yeah, take a look at Pritchett's face. Very calm, very relaxed, and that's exactly the same style that he used with his stroke. Just very, very smooth. That's what allowed him to cross the line first.
If anyone is going to analyze these events and figure out some shortcuts, it's Graham Hicks, the 27-year-old from England, an aeronautical engineer. Vytautas Lalas represents Lithuania, though he's currently living in Dublin, Ireland. Last year's runner-up, once again, one of the favorites. And Johannes Årsjö of Sweden, finalist from a year ago, making his 4th appearance at the World's Strongest Man. A guy just starting to live up to his potential. We are off in heat number 2, and look at Vytautas Lalas in the middle lane.
Lalas is just like a little pit bull, man. He's literally running with almost 1,000 pounds on his shoulders, Brent. That's absolutely ridiculous.
This is too easy. Vytautas Lalas, the Lithuanian, explodes to the finish.
Yeah, Hicks and Årsjö battling out here, want that second place spot where every point counts.
Årsjö finishes in second place, but Lalas, 16.18, wins the event.
Lalas was incredible here. A lot of people think that there's a lot of pain in this event, but when you look at Lalas's face, that's actually the way that he smiles. He loves carrying 1,000 pounds, and it showed, Brent.
Lalas picks up 6 points towards his overall total thanks to the victory. Årsjö edged out Hicks by 0.07 seconds to grab the second spot. Pritchett was 4th. The waters surrounding the island of Hainan are inviting, whether you're yachting or fishing. On dry land, the city of Sanya is host to the Commerce World's Strongest Man. The second event in Group 2's qualifying round is the Deadlift Hold. You know, Aaron, I think it's safe to say this isn't a favorite of the athletes.
Yeah, well, these guys can lift 814 pounds pretty easily. The problem comes as the clock continues to tick and the entire body wants to shut down because of the pain. Brent, at the end of the day, the deadlift holds about fortitude.
Scott Cummine had all sorts of problems in the first event. The correctional officer from Canada finished 6th. Gerhard van Staden of South Africa finished 5th in the loading race. So both men could use a good result right here. We are off in the deadlift hold.
Yeah, Brent, it's really hard for these guys in the first group because they don't have a time. They're basically flying blind. They don't know what's going to win this event, so they don't have near the advantage that the groups coming behind them do.
Well, you can tell it's really starting to burn here for both of these guys.
Yeah, this takes overall body strength, but really puts a burden on the traps and rear delts and the rhomboids. And the limiting factor in this event is the grip strength, so forearm strength is important too.
Clock at 30 seconds. And there it is. Checking out is Van Staden. Still going is Cummine. How much does he have left?
Cummine is trying to go to his happy place right now. Look at his face. He's trying to hold on with everything he has. He doesn't know what's going to win it, so he's got to hold it as long as he can.
Pretty impressive display by Cummine, who really had to have a strong one here. You see Van Staden has gone to his knees. And there it is, at a minute. Well done by Cummine. Van Staden in 32.14, so he starts out in second place, but 4 competitors still to go. And Cummine, in just over a minute, sets the early pace.
Yeah, Brent, I think every muscle in Scott Cummine's body was probably screaming for him to let go, but he refused. Look at the look of determination on his face, but at the very end, you saw his body start to lean forward. A pretty good showing out of the gate.
Vytautas Lalas is the overall leader thanks to his win in the first event. He looks at ease, even though his wife is expecting their first child any day now. Johannes Årsjö, the second place finisher in the first event, 5-time winner of Sweden's Strongest Man. Aaron, is it me, or did Vytautas Lalas' shoulders seem to stretch the entire width of this car?
Man, I was thinking the same thing. He is a big back dude, and that big back will certainly help him in this event.
You called him a pit bull earlier. I mean, the build, this guy he's something else.
Yeah, there's no question. And you saw that shot there with his eyes closed. This really is an event that's mind over matter. We said it before. All these athletes can lift 814 pounds, but at the end of the day, it's about want to and desire.
Interesting, too, to look at the different competitors and their breathing patterns, because not everybody does it the same here.
Breathing is very important. You have to be able to get oxygen to your muscles.
Årsjö starting to show some strain as he looks over to Lalas to see how he's faring.
Lalas is steady Eddie, man.
Nearing a minute, Årsjö and Lalas. Now Lalas glances over.
Yeah, he knows he wants to beat Årsjö, but he's also coming up on Scott Cummine's time.
And they both beat the time. And they both closed at the same time. An embrace after, identical, 101.87 for Årsjö and Lalas, almost like they planned it. Both Lalas and Årsjö fought through lots of pain, and their reward is a share for the lead in the deadlift hold. Gerhard Pritchett of the USA finished 4th in the first event, definitely not the start he was looking for. England's Graham Hicks comes into the event in 3rd place overall. At 5'10", 276, he's one of the shortest and lightest competitors here, but Aaron, we've seen that the deadlift hold might be more about heart and desire than raw power.
Yeah, and both of these athletes have plenty of both.
Again, the time to beat is 101.87. Final 2 competitors here in Group 2 of this event.
Graham Hicks already showing some strain. Look at the face. Gerhard Pritchett very calm, but when you look at Graham Hicks, the face is the lie detector. He's under a lot of pressure right now.
Pritchett looks pretty comfortable, all things considered. Of course, we know how quickly it can go south on you.
Yeah, no question. These athletes are trying to concentrate and focus and continue to breathe smoothly, and you see right there, Hicks's face. He's feeling it.
Pritchett.
Oh, you see that little bobble there. Very, very difficult to have a bobble like that and get back on track.
Time to beat 101.87. And they've gone past it. Hicks drops, quickly followed by Pritchett. But Pritchett gets the victory. Hicks gets second overall in the group, 105.57 in the deadlift hold. And Pritchett impressively 106.51, and he wins the deadlift hold.
Pritchett just outlasted Hicks, and he looked so comfortable until he had that bobble, but Brent, is amazing that he somehow was able to use his core strength to get it back under control.
So Jerry Pritchett claimed the top spot in the deadlift hold with a time of 106.51. Graham Hicks was second. Johannes Årsjö and Vytautas Lalas tied for third place. Through two events, Lalas is the leader with 9.5 points. Hicks and Pritchett share third with 9 points. Årsjö is fourth. Remember, just 2 athletes from this group will qualify for the final. Sanya, China has become a destination for tourists from all over the globe, and this year hosts the planet's 30 best strength athletes. Nanshan Cultural Tourism Zone was the site for the third event facing qualifying Group 2, the overhead lift. Canadian Scott Cummine was able to produce 2 repetitions of the 357-pound train axle. Jerry Pritchett of the USA was also able to battle his way to 2 good lifts. Despite being 81 pounds lighter than the weight he was lifting, England's Graham Hicks had 3 reps. Gerhard van Staden of South Africa was also pleased to be able to lock out 3 repetitions. Vytautas Lalas used his massive shoulders to good effect in the overhead lift. He posted 5 reps. It was another rock-solid performance for Johannes Årsjö. The Swede also had 5 reps. With 5 repetitions apiece, Årsjö and Lalas share the victory in the overhead lift. Hicks and van Staden tied for third with 3 reps, and the theme continued with Pritchett and Cummine tying for 5th. So at the halfway point, Lalas remains the overall leader with 15 points. Årsjö has 14 and holds down the second position. Hicks is next with 12.5 points. Pritchett is in 4th place. Group 2's journey is not over yet. Their qualifying round continues when the Commerce World's Strongest Man returns to Sanya, China. Vytautas Lalas and Johannes Årsjö know what it takes to reach the World's Strongest Man final. They've been there before. While the veterans have taken command in Group 2's qualifying round, plenty of time remains for the other athletes to reel them back in. 2 strongmen will advance to the final. 4 will see their time in China come to an end. We'll find out who's left standing next. With year-round sun and surf, Sanya, China is a tropical playground, and it's the host for the 36th edition of the Commerce World's Strongest Man. The 4th event facing qualifying Group 2 is one of our classics, the truck pull. And Aaron, with the truck on an incline, the first few meters will be the toughest.
Yeah, no doubt. And strongmen, because of that, are going to need to dig in and drive with their legs while their arms tug on the rope. Now, once the course levels out and the 26,500-pound truck has momentum, that's when foot speed will be a factor.
Graham Hicks' score is in the books. Unfortunately, the Englishman just never got the 13-plus ton vehicle into top gear. His time of 49 seconds is the mark to beat.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Canada,
29-year-old Scott Cummine, a correctional officer back home in Canada, is just 6 foot, 290 pounds.
Yeah, Brent, the truck pull is usually a big man's event, but on this course, speed is also going to be just as important. But the smaller guys like Scott have to be efficient. They can't be too aggressive at the start, otherwise they'll blow up, but he looks pretty good here so far.
Yeah, pretty aggressive. Right off the jump for Cummine.
Drifting a little bit there, Brent, which is not as efficient as you want to be, but everything else looks pretty dang good. He's got some great momentum going.
Final 5 meters for Cummine. 29.07.
Look at his legs wobble there, Brent. He made pulling the truck look so dang easy, but now he can't even stand up.
Good effort by Cummine as he sets the new time to beat in the truck pull.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
Wow, don't quit your day job, Aaron, please.
great start and great finish all the way through for Scott Cummine.
and gentlemen, from South
Gerhard van Staden up next, 28-year-old South African. Gerhard's amateur rugby career came to an end when he suffered a neck injury. So he turned to strongman, which he considers a non-contact sport.
That may be true, and there might not be anybody hitting you in strongman, but it's not exactly a sport where you don't have to worry about injuries.
25 meters. I gotta think, that doesn't seem like a long distance, Aaron, but when you're pulling a truck, it's more like 25 miles.
Yeah, no question. Leg burn is a huge part of it. And remember, these athletes are starting this truck out on an incline, so getting that truck to move past its initial inertia is extremely difficult.
Tosses aside the rope, goes to all fours, now pulls it the final 5 meters and explodes to the finish in 29.70, just off the time to beat.
Yeah, when athletes toss aside that rope, they rely on their brute strength and lower body power. You wonder if that helped him or hurt him because he was so close to Cummine's time.
Van Staden decided leg power was enough to get him through the final few meters, but he just missed out on claiming the top spot.
ladies and gentlemen,
This is Vytautas Lalas, the overall leader in Group 2. The 31-year-old Lithuanian checks in at 5'10", 313. And Aaron, as evidenced by his runner-up finish in last year's competition, he packs plenty of power in that frame.
No question. Right out of the gate, though, we're seeing that Lalas is having a little bit more trouble getting that truck moving past its initial inertia. Great body lean, though. Now he's getting it up to speed. You talked about that lower body power and drive and those big arms. He's getting to a nice, smooth rhythm now, Brent.
Yeah, nice momentum here. And 25 seconds. 29.07 is the time to beat. He's going to come up short of that. Really struggling through the finish, 34.47. Well off the pace from Lalas.
Yeah, you can tell that Lalas wasn't as happy with that performance as he would have liked. This is a second event in a row where maybe he feels like he left some on the table. It wasn't the greatest start to be able to get that truck moving, so you have to wonder if he just ran out of gas at the end.
Puts Lalas in third place here in Group 2 to this point. American Jerry Pritchett, fourth place after 3 events. The 32-year-old from Arizona has some serious work to do if he wants to claim one of the 2 positions in the final from this group.
Yeah, and if he's going to do that, Brent, he has to get a great start.
Scott Cummine has posted the best time at 29.07, so that's the mark to beat. And Pritchett really fighting it off the start.
Yeah, a little unorthodox technique there. You saw him kind of bend his knees and dip down, and then he kind of found his rhythm. There is a sweet spot with the truck pull. You want to get the proper body lean and the right relationship between using your arms and using your lower body power.
Now he's got that truck moving.
It's in a nice rhythm now, but it's just not a very fast rhythm, Brent.
He's going to get it to the finish, but the time going to be well off. Final 5 meters. And there you go, 45.89. The effort from Jerry Pritchett, the 32-year-old, and that'll put him in 4th.
Yeah, Jerry Pritchett certainly doesn't lack brute power and strength, but the truck pull's one of those events that you need to be able to move well in space, and it just didn't seem like he ever got comfortable and got into the rhythm that you need to fare well in the truck pull.
The 6th and final athlete to get an opportunity to pull the 26,500-pound truck, Johannes Årsjö of Sweden. Årsjö, a finalist a year ago, is in 2nd place in the overall standings. And again, Aaron, top 2 in the group get to the final.
See, Årsjö with a little bit of struggle and bobble there, but very quickly, Brent, he gets the truck moving and up to speed.
The time to beat, 29.07. Set by Scott Cummine, the Canadian.
Look at that body lean, Brent. He's like a missile shooting out of the front of that truck. He's got a good rhythm going now. Årsjö is putting on a show.
Tosses the rope. Final 5 meters. Can he get the time? Not quite. 30.27, and that'll put him in 3rd.
See Årsjö there at the end, feeling pretty good about his performance, but that's the second time we've seen an athlete drop the rope, and for Årsjö, it looked like the momentum of the truck slowed down. At the end of this race, his legs were burning. And you have to wonder if him holding the rope and using his arms would have helped.
The time of 29.07 got Scott Cummine the truck pull victory. Van Staden took second, Årsjö third, Lalas fourth, and Pritchett fifth. After 4 events, Sweden's Årsjö and Lithuanians Lalas are tied for the lead with 18 points apiece. England's Hicks is in third with 13.5 points. Pritchett of the USA has the 4th spot. John Paul Sigmarsson is the focus of today's Commerce Flashback. His combination of power, speed, and ferocious intensity was something that the sport had never seen. The Icelandic legend will be long remembered for his 4 titles, as well as his unparalleled showmanship. The Commerce World's Strongest Man moved to the Grand Deluxe Hotel on the South China Sea in Sanya, China for the 5th of 6 events for Group 2. It was the Keg Toss, an event that has come to define the world's strongest man as a test of overall body strength. Canada's Scott Cummine was only able to send 4 of the 8 barrels up and over the 16-foot bar. Graham Hicks of England is an aeronautical engineer by trade, but he couldn't get the barrels to take flight. Hicks was also credited with just 4 kegs, possibly a fatal blow to his chances of making the final. Gerry Pritchett of the United States managed to complete 6 kegs, including one that had a very fortunate roll. The South African Gerhard van Staden has been up and down in his World's Strongest Man debut. He also had a solid but not spectacular 6 kegs. Vytautas Lalas powered his way through all 8 kegs. The Lithuanian stopped the clock at a time of 23.28 seconds. But it wasn't enough for the victory because Johannes Årsjö had a ridiculous performance, finishing at just over 20 seconds. With all 8 kegs in 20.17 seconds, Johannes Årsjö claims the keg toss. Lalas was just over 3 seconds slower and finished second. Gerry Pritchett and Gerhard van Staden each had 6 kegs to tie for third. 1 event remaining. Årsjö and Lalas claim the 2 positions in the World's Strongest Man final from Group 2. Pritchett can't advance, but he's moved up to 3rd place overall. The final event in Group 2's qualifying round is the Atlas Stones, and it's another challenge for overall body strength.
Brent, the 5 stones, which range from 285 to 410 pounds, have to be lifted off the ground and placed on the platforms. But as the weights of the stones go up, the height of the platforms decrease, but it still doesn't get any easier.
4 athletes have already finished up their runs in the Atlas Stones. Graham Hicks is only 5'10", and that hurt him trying to place the first stone. After all sorts of problems, he settled for a score of 2 stones in 51.77 seconds. Scott Cummine also encountered some problems on the first stone. The Canadian rookie eventually was able to place 2 stones in a time of 47.27 seconds. The other rookie in the group fared better. Gerhard van Staden was able to hoist 4 stones onto their platforms in a time of 44.47 seconds. And American Gerry Pritchett was clearly disappointed to not qualify for the final, but closed out his time in China with a respectable score of 4 stones in 33.62. Now to the 2 men who will be in the final. And for Vytautas Lalas, it'll be his 3rd final in 4 attempts. The 31-year-old Lithuanian will again be one of the favorites. But first, he must deal with Johannes Årsjö here in the Atlas Stones. Årsjö, 5 times the winner of Sweden's Strongest Man, has clinched his 2nd appearance in the final. A bit of pride here on the line.
Pretty even start for both of these athletes. Årsjö a little bit taller, having no problem getting that first stone up, but Lalas at 5'10", struggling a bit.
On to the 3rd stone, this one at 330 pounds.
Look at that, Brett. The athletes checking each other out. A little synchronized strongmen going on here.
Both men have advanced to the final, now just putting on a show. 410-pound stone, the final one. Nearly a dead heat. And Årsjö just edged out by the Lithuanian.
Great effort by both of these athletes. After a slow start, Lalas turned it on, showing you what he does best. How about the forearm tape that they got going on? Duct tape on the forearms. These dudes are bad.
You love it. 2/100ths of a second separating these two guys.
Yeah, Årsjö got to that 410-pound stone with the lead, but in the end, it was Lalas who just barely got the win in the Atlas stones.
Again, by 2/100ths of a second, Vytautas Lalas got the victory in the Atlas stones. Johannes Årsjö was second, Pritchett third, Gerhard van Staden was fourth. Årsjö and Lalas finished tied with 29 points on the overall leaderboard. They also are awarded two of the prized places in the World's Strongest Man final. We'll see them next compete for a title. We'll narrow down the field of the planet's 10 best strength athletes as the qualifying round of the Commerce World's Strongest Man continues. For Aaron Taylor, I'm Brent Stover. So long from the picturesque Sanya, China.